as people who have fought a struggle all our life. So no one can bring any more struggle to us that is new. And we're still fighting a struggle of existence as I sit here in front of you. Not only me, you too.
You might know him as one of the kings of dancehall, but Buju Banton's story is far from ordinary. At 52, he has lived a life full of music, controversy, prison, and redemption. From Kingston streets to global stages, he has seen the highs and the lows few artists survive. In this video, we're breaking down what really happened to Buju Banton, how his career evolved, and where he is now. Stick around, because his journey is shocking, inspiring, and sometimes downright unbelievable. By the end, you'll see why his legacy still matters today. Early life and rise to fame. Buju Banton was born Mark Anthony Myrier in Kingston, Jamaica in 1973. Growing up in a city brimming with music, he quickly absorbed the sounds of reggae, ska, and dancehall that pulsed through the streets. His parents weren't famous musicians, but the rhythms of Jamaica's neighborhood seeped into his childhood, shaping a young boy who would soon find his own voice. Music wasn't just entertainment, it was survival, identity, and expression. Even as a teenager, Buju was drawn to performing. He started in local sound systems, the beating heart of Jamaican music culture. These were more than parties. They were proving grounds where DJs and singers battled for attention, respect, and the chance to be heard. Buju's early work showed promise, but it was raw, rough around the edges, and packed with energy that made him stand out. You could hear the determination in his voice, the hunger to break free from his circumstances. By the late 1980s, Buju began recording singles that hinted at his potential. Tracks like The Ruler and Love Me Browning displayed his versatility and charisma. Listeners started to notice that his voice wasn't just another reggae tone. It was deep, expressive, and able to carry both dancehall bravado and heartfelt emotion. The music reflected his neighborhood life, often touching on themes of struggle, resilience, and love. He didn't need a big label to make an impact. Word of mouth and strong performances in the Kingston scene did the work for him. Buju's early persona combined street-smart toughness with a keen sense of rhythm and melody. Fans loved him for it, and critics started calling him one of the most exciting young voices in reggae. His stage presence was magnetic. Watching him perform, people felt like they were witnessing something raw and authentic. It was a rare mix, a performer who could command attention without flashy gimmicks, relying only on talent, energy, and connection with the audience. The early 1990s marked a turning point. Buju Banton's music matured, reflecting not just his personal struggles, but broader societal issues in Jamaica. Songs like Love Me Browning weren't just catchy, they had emotional weight. He captured the tension between the gritty reality of the streets and the universal desire for love and respect. By this time, the young performer was no longer just a local act. International attention started to trickle in, hinting at a future that could catapult him beyond Jamaica's shores. In short, Buju Banton's rise was fueled by natural talent, a fierce work ethic, and an ability to speak to people through music. From sound systems to recording studios, his early years built a foundation that would carry him through fame, controversy, and everything that came after. Fans were drawn not only to his music, but to the person behind it, a young man from Kingston who refused to stay small, whose voice demanded to be heard around the world. Controversies and public image. By the time Buju Banton was establishing himself as a dancehall heavyweight, controversy followed him like a shadow. Part of this came from his lyrics, which often reflected the rough realities of Kingston streets, but some of it was due to his provocative choices in themes and messaging. For a musician in the public eye, navigating fame in a genre known for raw honesty was a tightrope walk, and Buju often teetered on the edge. One of the earliest sources of controversy came from his gun talk and aggressive lyrics. Dancehall in the late 80s and early 90s was a gritty reflection of social struggles, and Buju's songs mirrored that reality. Tracks like Boom Bye Bye sparked backlash because of their violent and anti-gay messaging. Critics argued that these lyrics were harmful, while fans defended them as reflective of the culture he grew up in. The song itself became a lightning rod, shaping how people viewed Buju Banton outside the dancehall scene. This tension between fan loyalty and public criticism would follow him for years. But controversy wasn't limited to lyrics. Buju's stage persona and public statements often drew attention. He didn't shy away from conflict and was known for speaking his mind, whether in interviews or in battles with other artists. Some saw him as fearless and authentic, others labeled him combative or dangerous. This duality kept his public image complicated. You could admire his courage and talent while simultaneously being disturbed by some of his choices. It made him fascinating to follow, but also hard to fully defend in mainstream media circles. Despite the challenges, Buju's controversial image didn't stall his career. It amplified it. His boldness, combined with undeniable talent, made him a headline maker. Controversy in dancehall often equated to attention, and Buju learned to use it strategically. Even as some criticized him, he kept performing, recording, and collaborating, ensuring that the music spoke louder than the debates. His fans were loyal, drawn not just to the sound, but to the attitude. You could say that his controversies gave him a kind of magnetism. People watched, listened, and argued, but they never ignored him. Public perception of Buju Banton was complicated further by the rise of international attention. As his albums reached audiences beyond Jamaica, criticism intensified. Media outlets in the United States and Europe often focused on the controversial elements, sometimes overshadowing his musical skill and message. In interviews, Buju would occasionally respond with humor or deflection, acknowledging mistakes but rarely apologizing in ways the mainstream expected. This mix of defiance and charm added layers to his public persona, painting him as both flawed and fascinating. Interestingly, controversy also became part of his artistic fuel. Songs tackling social injustice, inequality, and personal struggle often emerged from the same environment that produced criticism. The tension between fame, controversy, and authentic expression created a complex figure, an artist who couldn't be reduced to a simple narrative. Fans appreciated that complexity, seeing Buju as someone who was human, flawed, and unafraid to speak his truth. Ultimately, Buju Banton's controversies were a double-edged sword. They complicated his image, attracted media scrutiny, and sparked debate, but they also amplified his presence, drew attention to his music, and cemented his place as one of dancehall's most compelling figures. His early public persona, a mix of fearless self-expression and controversial choices, set the stage for the career highs and lows that would follow. By the time he was topping charts internationally, audiences knew Buju was someone you had to pay attention to. Love him or hate him, he was impossible to ignore. Career highlights and major albums. Once Buju Banton started gaining traction, his career quickly became a mix of commercial success and cultural influence. By the early 1990s, he wasn't just a local Kingston star, he was an international reggae sensation. His music resonated because it was raw, emotional, and undeniably authentic, blending dancehall energy with socially conscious lyrics. Fans could dance to his beats while feeling the weight of the messages he delivered. One of Buju's breakthrough albums, Mr. Mention, released in 1992, showcased his evolving sound. The album was packed with infectious dancehall rhythms and lyrical storytelling. Songs like Love Me Browning demonstrated his knack for balancing romance and streetwise bravado. Critics took notice, and he began to stand out as more than just another dancehall performer. Buju had a voice that could convey toughness, vulnerability, and charisma all at once, a rare combination in any genre. Then came Till Shiloh in 1995, often cited as his defining work. This album marked a turning point, showing Buju's willingness to explore deeper themes such as spirituality, social injustice, and personal reflection. Tracks like Untold Stories and Murderer highlighted his growth as a songwriter. He wasn't just making music for the clubs anymore, he was creating art that demanded attention and respect. Till Shiloh solidified his reputation as an artist who could evolve without losing his roots. Following that, albums like Inna Heights and Voice of Jamaica expanded his international reach. Collaborations with other reggae heavyweights and emerging artists helped him bridge traditional reggae sounds with modern dancehall vibes. Fans loved the versatility. Buju could move for deep, contemplative tracks to high-energy party anthems without missing a beat. His albums consistently charted in Jamaica and abroad, proving that his appeal wasn't limited to a single audience. Buju's career highlights weren't only about albums. His live performances became legendary. Fans would travel across islands and continents just to see him perform, drawn to his commanding stage presence and charismatic delivery. On stage, Buju could make a crowd feel like a personal audience, a skill that elevated him above many of his contemporaries. Awards and nominations followed, including several from the Caribbean Music Awards, reflecting the industry's recognition of his talent. Another defining aspect of Buju's career was his ability to collaborate. He worked with reggae icons like Sizzla, and even touched the edges of hip-hop and R&B collaborations. These partnerships expanded his audience and demonstrated his adaptability. He wasn't an artist trapped in a single lane. He could reach diverse listeners while staying true to his roots. Buju Banton's major albums and career milestones reveal an artist constantly evolving, pushing boundaries, and staying relevant. His music reflected personal growth, social awareness, and an understanding of his audience. Every album added a layer to his story, showing the world that he wasn't just a performer, he was a cultural force. By combining memorable lyrics, infectious rhythms, and a stage presence that few could rival, Buju Banton cemented himself as one of dancehall and reggae's most influential figures. His career highlights aren't just a list of albums or hits, they tell a story of talent, resilience, and a refusal to fade into the background. Fans who have followed him since the beginning understand this. Buju Banton's legacy is built not only on his music, but on the moments, emotions, and controversies that made him unforgettable. Legal trouble and imprisonment. By the mid-2000s, Buju Banton's career was thriving, but his life took a dramatic turn that shocked fans worldwide. In 2009, he was arrested in the United States on serious drug-related charges. The case centered around conspiracy to possess and distribute cocaine, a charge that could carry decades behind bars. For someone whose music had often portrayed street life, this moment blurred the line between art and reality in the eyes of the public. Headlines screamed, and fans were left wondering how one of reggae's most iconic voices had ended up in such a situation. The trial that followed was high-profile and closely watched. Media coverage in Jamaica, the US, and Europe dissected every detail, from alleged transactions to Buju's character outside the courtroom. Supporters emphasized his music and charitable acts, painting him as a man who had made a mistake, but didn't deserve life-altering punishment. Critics argued that fame shouldn't provide a shield, no matter how influential the artist. It was a tense moment, with opinions divided and emotions running high on both sides. In 2011, the verdict came. Buju Banton was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in a US federal prison. The sentence stunned the reggae community. Fans flooded social media with messages of support, while international artists and public figures spoke out on his behalf. It was clear that this was more than just a legal case. It had become a cultural moment, highlighting issues around justice, celebrity, and the impact of the US legal system on non-American citizens. Prison life was a stark contrast to the spotlight of international fame. Buju went from performing for thousands to confined spaces, daily routines, and limited freedoms. For many artists, this type of setback could end a career permanently. But Buju's situation was unique. Despite the harsh reality, he approached his sentence with a mindset that would later redefine him. Reports indicated he focused on personal growth, spirituality, and maintaining a connection to music whenever possible. Prison didn't silence him completely. It reshaped the way he viewed his art and life. The impact on his career was significant. Concerts were canceled, album releases delayed, and collaborations put on hold. His absence left a void in the reggae and dancehall world. Yet, paradoxically, the legal troubles also intensified his mystique. Fans didn't just miss Buju, they rallied for him. Campaigns and petitions for clemency circulated online, and artists publicly supported his release. His legal challenges became a part of his story, a narrative of resilience, struggle, and the consequences of choices made in a complicated world. Media coverage often focused on the sensational aspects, arrests, court appearances, and potential sentence lengths. But for those paying attention to his music and personal statements, a different story emerged. Buju Banton used the time to reflect, write, and plan a path forward. While the details of his prison experience were largely private, interviews and letters released later suggested a man determined to emerge stronger and more focused than before. Ultimately, Buju Banton's legal troubles and imprisonment were a turning point. They interrupted a thriving career, tested his fan base, and placed him under intense scrutiny. Yet, These challenges also set the stage for a story of transformation. What many feared would be the end of his influence in reggae became instead a chapter in a more complex narrative, one that fans and observers would follow with fascination, anticipation, and a sense of respect for the resilience he demonstrated. Prison life and transformation. Prison life is rarely easy for anyone, but for Buju Banton, it was a complete shift from performing on global stages to navigating the confines of a federal facility. After his 2011 conviction, Buju faced the challenge of adapting to a strict routine, limited freedoms, and constant scrutiny. For someone used to commanding crowds and creating music on his own terms, the transition was intense. Yet, this period would prove to be transformative in ways few could have predicted. Inside prison, Buju focused on personal growth. Reports and interviews suggest he spent much of his time reflecting on his past decisions, reconnecting with his spirituality, and building inner resilience. Music remained central, though not in the traditional sense. He wrote lyrics, explored new ideas, and maintained connections with the reggae community wherever possible. Some artists collaborated remotely or offered messages of support, reminding him that his voice and influence extended beyond the prison walls. Buju also leaned into education and self-improvement. Accounts describe him participating in programs designed to develop skills, encourage reflection, and foster a sense of purpose. This wasn't just about passing the time, it was about reclaiming agency in a situation where control had been largely taken away. These experiences helped him prepare for a life after prison, ensuring he would emerge more focused, disciplined, and motivated than before. Another aspect of Buju's transformation involved his faith and spirituality. Raised with a strong connection to Rastafarian beliefs, he reportedly deepened his commitment during incarceration. Spirituality provided structure, comfort, and a sense of accountability. For fans and followers, it was a sign that the artist wasn't just surviving prison. He was using the time to evolve, strengthen his character, and reflect on the kind of life he wanted to lead after release. Prison life also offered a unique opportunity for Buju to see his own legacy from a distance. Letters from fans, updates on his music, and media coverage reminded him of the impact he had made. This awareness inspired a renewed sense of responsibility to his craft and community. He began to think about the messages he wanted to leave behind, not only in music, but in how he lived and how he influenced younger artists. It wasn't all quiet reflection, though. Prison came with challenges, tension, and moments of struggle. Navigating relationships with other inmates, adapting to strict regulations, and handling public perception required patience and resilience. Buju reportedly approached these challenges with a blend of determination and humility, recognizing that growth often comes from confronting adversity head-on. By the time his sentence was nearing its end, Buju Banton had undergone a subtle but significant transformation. Fans noticed a calmer, more reflective energy in his post-prison interviews. His focus on music, family, and spirituality suggested that the time behind bars, while difficult, had a profound impact on his perspective and priorities. In short, prison life reshaped Buju Banton both personally and professionally. He emerged not just as a surviving artist, but as a man more intentional with his choices, more aware of his influence, and more committed to a life that aligned with his values. This period of transformation would lay the groundwork for his triumphant return to the music world, proving that even in the darkest moments, resilience and self-reflection can set the stage for redemption. Release and return to music. After serving 7 years of his 10-year sentence, Buju Banton walked out of prison in December 2018. The news sent waves through the reggae and dancehall community. Fans who had waited anxiously for his release celebrated online and in the streets, eager to see the artist reclaim the stage. For many, it felt like more than a comeback. It was a revival of hope for someone whose talent had shaped a genre for decades. Buju's return to music was carefully orchestrated. He didn't rush into recording or touring immediately. Instead, he allowed himself time to reconnect with the world and recalibrate his artistic vision. Interviews from this period reveal a more grounded Buju, someone who understood the weight of his choices and the responsibility of being a public figure. His experiences had changed him, and he was determined to reflect that growth in his music. In 2019, Buju made a triumphant return to live performance with the Long Walk to Freedom tour. Fans packed venues across the United States, Europe, and the Caribbean, eager to witness the energy and charisma they remembered. The performances were electric, blending classic hits with new material inspired by his time in prison. Audiences noticed a new depth in his lyrics and delivery, a maturity that came from years of reflection and growth. Every note and verse seemed infused with the lessons he had learned behind bars. Buju also released new music following his release. Tracks like No Smoking and Bun Fee Bun showcased his evolution as an artist, tackling themes of social justice, unity, and personal accountability. While still maintaining the raw dancehall energy fans loved, these songs demonstrated a shift in perspective. There was a conscious effort to balance entertainment with meaningful messaging, a reflection of the man he had become during his incarceration. Collaborations further marked his return. Buju worked with younger artists and established reggae names alike, blending styles and generations. This strategy not only re-established his relevance, but also highlighted his role as a mentor within the genre. For emerging musicians, sharing a stage or studio with Buju Banton became a milestone, a symbol of recognition and respect. His influence extended beyond fans, directly shaping the next wave of reggae and dancehall talent. The public reception to Buju's comeback was overwhelmingly positive. Social media buzzed with videos from concerts, reactions to new tracks, and commentary from artists praising his return. Critics noted that Buju's post-prison work didn't rely solely on nostalgia. It felt fresh, purposeful, and resonant with contemporary audiences. His ability to adapt without losing authenticity impressed both longtime followers and newcomers alike. More than just music, Buju's return signaled resilience. He had navigated legal battles, public scrutiny, and years away from the industry, yet he came back stronger. Fans saw the human side of an icon, a man capable of growth, accountability, and artistic reinvention. His story became proof that even the darkest chapters in life could lead to renewal when approached with intention and focus. Ultimately, Buju Banton's release and return to music reminded the world why he became a legend in the first place. He still had the voice, the stage presence, and the charisma, but now it came with a newfound wisdom. The comeback wasn't just about music. It was about reclaiming identity, rebuilding legacy, and showing that talent coupled with perseverance can overcome almost anything. Current life and projects. Now at 52, Buju Banton is far from a relic of the past. He continues to live a life centered on music, family, and personal growth, proving that his influence in reggae and dancehall remains strong. His post-prison years have been about more than making a comeback. They've been about redefining himself as an artist and a man while staying connected to his roots. One of the first things fans noticed after his release was his renewed commitment to live performance. Buju has been touring internationally, performing both classic hits and newer material that reflects his evolution. Concerts in Jamaica, the US, and Europe often sell out, with audiences ranging from longtime followers to younger listeners who discovered him through streaming platforms. His stage presence remains magnetic, but there's a deeper energy now, one that carries the weight of lived experience, reflection, and hard-won lessons. Beyond live shows, Buju has continued recording new music. Albums and singles released in recent years mix socially conscious lyrics with infectious rhythms. His music tackles themes such as resilience, justice, and community, while still delivering the dancehall beats fans love. Collaborations with other artists, both in reggae and across genres, keep him relevant and connected to the evolving music scene. Each new release demonstrates his ability to balance legacy with innovation, honoring his past while embracing the present. Buju's personal life also plays a big role in his current focus. He has been intentionally private about family matters, but it's clear that he values time with loved ones. Faith continues to guide him, and his Rastafarian beliefs inform not just his music, but his approach to life. Reports suggest he prioritizes health, mindfulness, and grounding practices, all of which help him maintain balance amid the demands of touring and recording. In addition to music, Buju has engaged in philanthropic and community projects. He uses his platform to support social initiatives, including youth programs in Jamaica and campaigns aimed at raising awareness about social justice. These efforts highlight another side of the artist, someone committed to giving back, creating opportunities for others, and making a positive impact beyond the stage. Fans and critics alike recognize that Buju's current projects are about more than music. They reflect a deeper understanding of his influence and responsibility. He's no longer just an entertainer. He's a cultural figure whose choices resonate with fans and younger artists. Interviews, performances, and public appearances show a man who has learned from the past, but remains passionate and engaged in the creative process. Even at 52, Buju Banton continues to be a bridge between generations. Younger artists look up to him as a mentor, while longtime fans celebrate his enduring talent. He has mastered the delicate balance of staying true to the raw energy that made him famous, while evolving to meet the expectations of modern audiences. Ultimately, Buju Banton's current life and projects reflect resilience, growth, and continued relevance. His music, public work, and personal choices all point to a man who has survived trials, learned from them, and is now creating a legacy that extends beyond hits and awards. Whether on stage, in the studio, or in his community, Buju demonstrates that even after major setbacks, it's possible to rebuild, reinvent, and continue to inspire the world through talent, determination, and heart. Legacy and impact. Buju Banton's career spans decades, controversies, triumphs, and reinventions, and his legacy in reggae and dancehall is undeniable. He is more than a singer or performer. He is a cultural icon whose music has influenced multiple generations. From the streets of Kingston to international stages, his sound, energy, and lyrical storytelling have left a lasting mark on fans and fellow artists alike. One of the key elements of Buju's impact is his ability to blend authenticity with versatility. He can deliver gritty, dancehall tracks that capture the raw reality of life in Jamaica, while also creating music with universal appeal. Songs like Untold Stories and Champion are not just hits, they are expressions of resilience, struggle, and the human spirit. This duality has allowed Buju to connect with a wide range of listeners, from die-hard reggae fans to casual international audiences. Beyond the music, Buju Banton has influenced other artists in tangible ways. His style, stage presence, and vocal delivery have inspired a new generation of dancehall and reggae performers. Many cite him as a mentor or a guiding example, proving that his influence extends beyond recordings and performances. By demonstrating how to balance personal expression, social commentary, and crowd-pleasing energy, Buju has set a benchmark for what it means to be a successful and respected artist in the genre. His legacy also reflects resilience. From early controversies to imprisonment and public scrutiny, Buju's life has been a series of challenges. Yet, he has continually returned stronger and more focused. This journey has inspired fans who see themselves in his struggles and triumphs. His story is one of human complexity, a reminder that artists, like all of us, are shaped by choices, circumstances, and the willingness to grow from experience. Culturally, Buju Banton has contributed to the global spread of reggae and dancehall. His albums have reached listeners worldwide, and his performances have introduced international audiences to Jamaican music in ways few others have. He has helped elevate the genre, showing that it can be both entertaining and meaningful. Through his influence, the reach of dancehall and reggae has expanded, giving a platform to voices that might otherwise remain unheard. Another part of his legacy lies in the dialogue he sparks. Controversial lyrics and provocative themes have prompted discussions about music, morality, and culture. While some criticized him, others engaged deeply with the messages and the context behind the songs. This engagement keeps Buju relevant not just as a musician, but as a figure whose career reflects larger societal conversations about art, responsibility, and freedom of expression. Finally, Buju's personal growth adds another layer to his impact. Post-prison, he has focused on meaningful collaborations, socially conscious projects, and guiding younger artists. This evolution shows that legacy isn't only about past hits, it's about ongoing influence and the ability to inspire positive change. Fans and critics alike recognize that Buju Banton's story is far richer than any single song or album. It's about survival, transformation, and the power of staying true to oneself. In the end, Buju Banton's legacy is secure. He has shaped reggae and dancehall, influenced countless artists, and navigated life's highs and lows in ways that few could. His impact resonates in music, culture, and the hearts of fans worldwide, proving that talent paired with perseverance and authenticity can create a story worth remembering. Buju Banton's journey is a mix of talent, controversy, and resilience. From Kingston streets to global stages, from prison walls to triumphant comebacks, he has lived a life that keeps fans talking decades later. Today at 52, he continues to inspire through music, mentorship, and personal growth. His story reminds us that setbacks don't define us, our response does. If you've been surprised by his journey, share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about legendary artists and the paths they've taken to leave their mark.